Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. My name is Jason and I'm the president of the YUJC. I'm so excited to present this show tonight. You're going to hear 4 poems, each written and recited by a member of Word at Yale, and each backed by a group of Yale jazz musicians led by a member of the YUJC. The traditions of jazz and poetry have long been intertwined, from the Harlem Renaissance to the Beat Generation to hip-hop and more today, and we're so excited to be a part of that conversation tonight. I also just want to say that it's always such a joy when the YJC is able to interact with and collaborate with other members of the community while making or appreciating the art. And this might just be the most interdisciplinary project that we've ever been a part of. From the poetry to the music to the visuals, all 4 of these pieces have a lot of aspects that are really meaningful to us, and we're so excited that you're able to see them tonight. Just want to say thank you to everyone at Word for your poetry and working with us. I want to say thank you to Jose, Calvin, and Graham for their great work with student programming with the YJC. And lastly, thank you to all of you for tuning in and watching. That's why we do it. So now you're going to hear from Oscar from Words, speaking a little bit about spoken word in the context of the show, and then we'll kick things off. So thank you again and enjoy the show.
Hi everybody, my name's Oscar and I'm president of Word. We're so excited to be sharing this project with you all today. It's come out of lots of months of work and an abiding interest in the way that spoken word and jazz have informed each other over the course of history. And with that being said, I'd like to quickly take a moment to read a statement on behalf of Word on the origins of spoken word. In the beginning was the Word. The origins of spoken word poetry are the origins of language itself. Before there was directed studies, or Walt Whitman, or even books, there were oral traditions of poems handed down generation after generation. Poems were how we kept our people alive. In honor of that, it's necessary that we begin this event by lending our attention to the Black legacies of jazz, blues, and the time-tested oral tradition of storytelling that gave rise to what we call spoken word. And as a resident group of the AFM House, it's important that we recognize that history and lineage as what bring our voices to you all tonight. So thank you for watching and enjoy the show.
Left of me is this side of the moon, lighting my face like a midnight glade. It is no wonder that here, under trees covered with the sweat of mist and sleeping bodies of fungi, I can only bear to fix my gaze on the sky. I have always been a lover of it, of perfection, of all the beauty I have never seen. But there is a danger in such things. The fever of the sun, for instance, or a supernova like the death of angels. When iron settled in the belly of stars, who could have predicted the small scale of sentient things? Is a fossil at the bottom of the sea not beautiful? Is a cell not written all over with poetry? I saw a sunflower and stared directly into the eye of God. Is there not a gravity in this too? It is said that photons carry an imprint of all things they have ever encountered. Imagine us and our sins beheld by godly light, all of us deserving to be remembered. And yet the sun is only comprehensible from a distance. We, unlike sunflowers, cannot face our Maker without blindness. But we feel it, so warm from far away, like how the moon returns its radiance. The moon is something we can admire, something we have admired for eons. And the image of it, breaking through clouds, is this not a kind of epiphany? To be the smallest sprig of moss clinging with love to the rain-soaked ground, is that not the dream of us all?
I am told in my classes that I write mostly about my family. That when I write mostly in shades of blue. Always I am wreathed in bluish colors that wait to show their sweetness until after they have burst from berry to blood splatter. It is never enough for my observers to leave a growing thing to ripen in peace, to witness abundance without dreaming of theft. So my words bleed out of my gums and stain into the shape of whatever self-portrait is most charming to an audience. Tinge my mouth with fading colors from the unlight of dawn and repaint myself in watercolor until I have filled in the easel with enough uprooted memories to provide someone else with closure. I would like to tell my professors that there's nothing more intolerable than being pitied, especially by the hands of that which compelled you to crush, but these days I am rarely brave enough to write about memory and anger at the same time. So instead, I'm always trying to drizzle a little sweetness into my blues. Dip the jagged parts of me into honeycomb. file down the edges from my hard days into soft rubble, or a picture more palatable than the truth it once captured, I break. They name the fragments of the fractal aftermath art. And the rest of the time my wounds may as well be scenery. Not marketable enough to be worth noticing. Dark brushstroke of someone else's background, whisper of silk, gossamer strand of copper or cobalt dust somehow. Blue and black are always the colors that are asked to fill in someone else's emptiness. I was once told, use what you got. And I've got more than hurt. But some days that is all the audience comes to listen to, and so that is what I paint with. Out of whatever shades of blue are least guilty and most comforting for someone else to look at. I try to become something out of my own bleeding. Even if I forget that there are parts of me that are not frustration. Even if the finished product is just a canvas in monochrome. Even if I end up painting the same mural over again. Because I think this is not the first time I've written this poem. More than once, I've been asked to write an elegy. My white peers have been asked to write whatever they want. And only one of us is told to dig even deeper. The unsaid half of that sentence being, it is more interesting to watch something heal the more you carve it up. As if the memory isn't already scar tissue. It is the bluest parts of me that resent sympathy the most. Maybe that's why I've been trying to write myself a new poem, essay, song, that doesn't need me to bleed for it to be legible. Why I have been trying to write in a shade of blue that does not make a prize of my pain.
How much hurting did it take before the broken mirror in Amy's throat turned to stained glass with her singing? Her words unfurling out through her teeth like willow branches. The wind carries as much as it can, but it can't cleave every burdensome leaf off her fingertips. And we are, despite ourselves, grateful for this. Grateful for this spring despite the agony of blossom. That out there is a beauty as deep a blue as our worst days. When I was younger, I could carry the melody with a quiet hum, watching Mama sing like maybe she'd once snapped a wishbone, praying that the letting go was providence. This music makes me proud of all that's pretty and ugly in me. My wrath, my cynicism, my hope, my love. No child is too young for loneliness, and most adults can't name their pain, but on nights when I can't begin to write or speak of the world, my hollows are every pounding, breaking word of back to black. Nowadays, the nostalgia is killing people. On a decade-old YouTube video, they say this was a cry for help. Say she needed a friend. Like there aren't clear, aching calls for something as good as anything sent into the sky by the living right now. But in a church in Ireland, a set with bass and guitar, I think I know what they mean. The urge to turn away, Amy's eyes glossed with tempest. That you've seen something you shouldn't have. That now you've got to carry that with you, realize you've been carrying it all this time. please don't misunderstand me. There's the good humor too, about ourselves saying fuck it and fuck you when we don't mean a word of it. I don't want to consider the weight of a laugh, or the times I've made music of a name when there was no one there to listen. Amy, in that ether of eternity, Monk and Bennett watched the storm clouds expire every bit of their water, knowing that there is still crying even after all of this, and they want to show you every loved word you never heard. Makes you wonder whether any of us did right by our own lives. Know we remember the glories, how a voice so light could pull tight on the arms holding all of us together and remind us that we are whole in ourselves and with each other. I know every road between North London and the rest of the world wasn't paved with the intention of their meeting. It just sort of happened that way. And maybe there's the silver lining, that a call rang out and someone caught it in their throat. Became a cry, became a laugh, was both. And I believe you when you say love is a losing game. And I know what you mean is that we never played to win.
Too much or too hard, my stomach swells. The sharp angles of ribs and clavicles soften. The hollows of cheeks and valleys between vertebrae become buried in adipose. Somewhere there's a world where every love begins in the kitchen. Begins with the steady percussion of knife on cutting board, and the way a hot pan sings when it sizzles, and the wind section, it's just a kettle, showing off it can whistle. It's just to say, my love begins with symphony. Begins with wooden-handled instruments and open mouths and a chorus of here, try this. 400 years ago, Basho wrote a haiku about his breakfast. Blood red sunrise. Today's meal is bonito sashimi. I imagine when the great Japanese poet saw how the flesh of fairest red was the same color as the sky, and its scales were iridescent like gemstones, it was so beautiful that he cried. So today, I choose to find poetry in the way fish eyes turn opaque under the broiler, or how tempura batter blooms in sputtering oil, or the sour pucker of pickled plum, or the slimy stink of fermented soybeans. 'Cause
YUJC and the kind of big family pictures people take at Thanksgiving, or the painting Da Vinci did of the Last Supper, and everyone is chewing on the ways we call each other home. Our newly round bellies turning yellow-orange in the sunset, like Mars or Saturn, or the halo of a saint that brings us closer to heaven, but I will not call it the Eucharist. Instead, I will think about how the sun is julienned into streamers and lands onto the earth thin as angel hair, or how love is thicker than water, blood, and olive oil, and plummets towards earth like a knife falling through butter, or a spoon sinking into porridge, or another simile for a soft and ripe thing. Instead, I will remember how when fat hits a pan, it gasps and whispers and blooms in the warmth just like we do. How it glistens newborn in the morning light, the unadulterated salvation of it all.